Good morning. It's Saturday, January 25th, and I don't know what exactly triggered this talk that I want to have this morning, but I want to talk about poverty in the United States, because when I started looking into this subject, I could see that there are many, many people who are living at the poverty level. According to the statistics that are out there, it's somewhere between 37 and 50 million people live at the poverty level. But it's interesting when you look at these different groups of people and when you consider exactly what poverty is. Because the poverty statistics to me are much different than I thought they were. According to what I read, that poverty for a family with one child is somewhere about $20,000 a year in earnings. Well, to me, $20,000 a year in earnings is a poverty level not for somebody who has one child and is married, but that's anybody. But there are many people who live on $20,000 a year. Kids who work but live with their families and are not paying rent to the house or whatever it is and earning $20,000 are doing okay. So poverty, when you look at it by numeric, is very difficult to define. And there are many people who are content living at the so-called poverty level. And poverty is a human condition which is decided that you can't obtain or provide a standard of living, giving people the necessary food, water, or shelter. It exists in every single country to varying degrees. And the United States is, of course, considered the richest country in the world. Yet we have that number I said before, somewhere between 37 and 50 million people at the poverty level. But not everybody considers themselves poverty-stricken. So you have relative poverty that looks at the context of what you need with respect to what you really have. So, for instance, if you are a family of 5 or 6, a mother or father and 3 or 4 children, and the dad makes $50,000 or $60,000 a year, he could consider himself at poverty level because he's feeding 6 different people, and then the wife has to go to work to get them above the poverty level. So there is many different nuances into what poverty really consists of, and there was an official level of calculating poverty, but I would throw that away because times change and costs change. And people are afraid that if they do something, it's going to upset the current balance between what you have and what you have not, and the cost of living could go up or down. As we see in this new presidency, a lot of changes are going to take place that are going to affect people's lives. I mean, he's opening up the world to oil production and a lot of other things, and he's canceled a lot of things that are going to affect the way you live. And I'm not blaming him for poverty or non-poverty or what he can do about poverty or what he can't do about poverty. Because poverty has been in existence for a long, long time, and nobody is going to get rid of it in this country. It's an attitudinal thing in many cases, because you can be making $20,000 a year and feel that you're okay because you're living with your parents or you have roommates or something, and you're not poverty stricken. stricken, although the stats will say you are poverty stricken. And if you look around the country, you see the states that are really poverty stricken. And those are states that depend on agriculture more than anything else. You have Mississippi, you have New Mexico, you have Louisiana, Kentucky, Oklahoma. All of those states are considered poverty-stricken states. But they're not desperately poverty-stricken, but they have large segments of their populations that are poverty-stricken. But if 10% of the population of Kentucky is poverty-stricken, that is not like having 10% of the state of New York poverty-stricken. The numbers just don't measure up. So, absolute poverty is a measurement of some kind, but not everybody who falls within those measures considers themselves poverty-stricken. So poverty is very difficult to define. And I heard some crazy numbers. People anywhere in the world who are living at less than $1.90 per day are in extreme poverty. But in the United States, if you live on less than $3.20 a day, then you are considered in poverty. And if you're a middle income family and you're making less than $5.50 a day, you're in poverty. Those numbers are ridiculous. Who could live? A single person in this country can't live on $3.20 a day. If you ride the subway, it costs you $2 or $3 to ride the subway. If you gotta go to work, you can't live on $3.20 a day. So I look at the statistics that are thrown out there for people to view, and I say, bullshit. They don't know what poverty is. So there's relative poverty. That's measured in income inequity, income inequality. Well, there's always been income inequality. You can have a good friend who makes $200,000 a year, and you are making $150,000 a year. You're still good friends. You don't look at how much money he makes. You don't look at the way he lives necessarily and get jealous. It's crazy. It's insane. And you cannot put a number on what makes somebody poverty-stricken. Take a young kid who's graduated from college at the top of his class and gets a job for $150,000 a year. But he's poverty-stricken because he's got to pay back his student loans for the next 10 years. When he spent $250,000 or $500,000 going to get his education. Would those people fall into the level of poverty-stricken people? Yes. But statistically, no, because they make a good living. So the definition of poverty is, I can't tell you that I can definitely find a pure definition of what poverty is in the United States. And poverty is probably a mental condition as much as it is a physical condition. You believe you're in poverty because you're not making what you expected to make or what you wanted to make. Does that make you poverty-stricken? No. So I believe that poverty is a monetary condition as well as a mental condition. So I leave you with those crazy thoughts this morning. And I hope most of you don't believe that you're at the poverty level. I hope most of you are doing okay, are doing very well. Have a great day. Bye. Thank you.